Well, there's a line from George Eliot. Animals are such agreeable friends. They ask no questions, they pass no criticism. Every animal is special in their own way, but we often notice that people have a different and negative mindset towards the Indian native dog. Why do you think this still exists in our society? Hello everyone, this is Anvesha and welcome back to the third podcast episode of Ignited Spirits Presents Leadership Series. Today we have someone very courageous who is not only fighting for stray dogs but also rescuing them, treating them and giving them a safe environment to survive and live freely. Having saved and rescued so many animals, she tries to convey this fact: you can do something big, you can do something small, but whatever you do, it will be better than nothing at all. So now, bringing to you Miss Aura Bhandari, the founder of Tales of Tales, to share her leadership journey with us. Let's begin. Hi Aura, it's such a pleasure to have you today in our third podcast episode on leadership series. Thank you for joining in. And
My pleasure.
Firstly, I love what you're doing. Hats off to you. I know it's not an easy stair to step on. Like looking after one animal pet is so tough these days, and you are rescuing so many animals, curing them, looking after them, and it's just incredible. Like I can see some of them around you, and it's incredible. Like hats off to you.
Thank you. I mean, that's very sweet of you. Thank you.
So
That's Tommy. He's the dog that I adopted.
Okay.
So he's just come into the park, inspect things. Yeah,
so cute.
On the camera.
Okay. Can you share their names with us?
Sure. So this is Bruno. He's right now just sleeping near me. Then there is his brother. He's called Motu. He's sitting there.
Okay.
Then their mother is called Megan. That's Tommy. He's the one that I adopted, and that's how the journey began. And then there are 3 more dogs here. Their names are Alu, Chini, and Chai Patti.
Okay. Wow, such cute names. Okay, so let's proceed. So now, when did you really thought of starting this page? Like how everything just began?
So it's a pretty interesting story. I was honestly terrified of dogs. I was phobic of dogs till 2017. So, even if my friends had dogs, I would not enter their house until the dog was either, inside a room, or if I am inside a room. I won't enter buildings if there was a distant bark. I will literally not cross the road if there was a stray dog sitting there. But my mother and my younger brother, they befriended a stray dog. So Tommy used to live on the streets outside my society, and he was a very thin, very scrawny dog. And because they befriended him, he started sneaking inside my society. So very frequently, the guards started beating him a lot, and he was bullied by the dogs who were outside. So soon he stopped eating, and then he went missing. Now, even though I was very scared of him, it became my habit to sort of, look that he's eating, and just, the conversations inside my house were like, Tommy ke liye roti bani hai, aaj nahi bani, because it became a habit that, he has to be fed. I always kept my distance because I was very scared. But one day he went missing after a very pathetic beating by some guards. He went missing. And, for the next 4 days, I was so uneasy that where is he? Has he eaten? And just like that, I started calling out his name every time I went downstairs. And on the 4th or the 5th day, he just sprang up from a car, like behind a car. And I was so terrified because I've never been near dogs. But I don't know, something that day was, I held him by the neck. I called up my parents, I'm like, we have to adopt him. There's no other way. He won't survive. And he came inside the house. For the first week, I was very uneasy being, near a dog. But slowly I could I feel the fear going away. So it was, the will to save him to overrode the fear. Through Tommy, I started befriending other stray dogs. I could understand their plight because even Tommy was beaten up badly. It was a bad case of animal abuse just because he entered the premises of the society. And through him, I befriended Megan. Megan was Tommy's first friend. And then we were not very aware at that time. So soon Megan gave birth, and although Tommy was sterilized, it was some other dog with which Megan mated, and she gave birth. So Bruno here, who's sitting near me, and his brother were the first set of puppies that I raised myself. And through them, the bond got so deep that I could understand the plight of every stray dog. So slowly and gradually, the tribe just extended. And while like every dog under my care is sterilized, now that I'm aware, but like I befriend every dog. If I'm walking on the road, I will stop and say hello to the dogs. And they wag their tails at me. I started understanding them more. Similarly, in college, initially when I entered my college, I was very scared. There were dogs all around the campus. But slowly, I started understanding. So I started befriending them as well. So every dog in college now knows me. I know them. So yeah, that's how it began, and it's been a great journey till now.
Like, how did you plan to start an organization like the Tales of Tales? How it started, like the page itself?
So initially we began to feed 6 to 8 dogs near the house. When we used to take Tommy for walks, etc. Then one of my neighbors here, he was the only person before us who used to feed or take care of the dogs. And, he had to shift. So after he left, we used to see the dogs waiting for food every day, but there was nobody coming with food. And because, we used to feed Tommy before, we used to understand how hard it is. Like they were just getting one meal a day. So we started feeding all of them. So from 6 to 8, it became 10 dogs. Then it became 15 dogs. Then we started, feeding the nearby areas. It became 20 dogs. Now the number kept on increasing. So despite, contributing from our family budget and a lot of things, it became difficult because the number of dogs kept on increasing. Then I understood that there is something known as adoption because we adopted Tommy. So we understood what procedures are followed. We saw wounds. So I took training under a vet to understand how to treat wounds on the spot so that I can help the animals. So through that, I sort of understood that there needs to be a platform where, like-minded people can come together, some sort of community building can happen. So that there is this need to have emotional support, financial support. And, that's pretty important because as the number of animals under your care are increasing, as the scale of your operations are increasing, there is this need to have the community as well. And, through this community, through the social media, I've met such amazing people. I have been able to get amazing homes for some of the dogs that I rescued. So the adopters initially, we meet as strangers, but this is a joke, inside joke that, we meet as strangers, but all the adopters of the Tales of Tales family are my extended family. We all are such good friends now. So it's been a good journey on Instagram. We started with Instagram. Now we are slowly establishing our Facebook page as well.
Okay. I really like your idea of your page, like how you came up with this idea of dogs portraying their own stories. I must say it's so innovative and sensible as well. What's your take on it?
I used to always believe that every person that we meet and any living being is a walking story. So, we have a lot of living libraries around us. That was my thought process. So when dogs, came into our lives, initially, when I was scared of dogs, there was this aunt in my neighborhood who used to talk to her dog all the time. So as a person who was not that fond of dogs, who was scared of dogs, I used to think how weird that is. But when I befriended dogs, there is this another world of communication that opens to you. The way you can communicate with a voiceless, so-called voiceless being, it's just magical. So I've always been someone who's fond of stories, be it reading, be it writing. So that just came naturally that, these guys not only have the tales, but also of the stories. So this name was suggested by a friend who's, I'm looking for a lot of names, and this just clicked, this just fit right in. So yeah, that's the story behind it.
When you started this organization, how supportive your friends and families were? Like, what were their initial reaction and how it helped you?
So my friends thought it's a prank, honestly, because they just couldn't believe that somebody who used to run away from dogs is doing something like this.
Yeah.
And when Tommy came into our lives, that was the year I was giving my boards for class 12. So it's
Okay.
not like I was very active anywhere on social media or in general, that year is spent in studying. So a lot of people didn't know what was going on in the life and all. So
Yeah.
they literally thought it was a prank. So I had to, in the upcoming weeks and everything, I had to tell them, it's not a prank. It's actually something that I resonate with. It's like I found my calling.
Yeah.
My parents and my family have been very supportive ever since it began. I have a younger brother who is about 12 years old. So ever since he was a baby, he was very fond of animals. I remember as a toddler, he befriended 2 stray cats. And my mother, he used to take my mother every day that, we have to give them milk. And he used to call them Tiny and Minnie. So he was
Okay.
always an animal friendly kid. And my parents are very supportive of this. And even, today also the organization, I think both my mom and my dad are the backbone of the organization, two very strong pillars. So I have been touched with very lucky in that respect. I know I've come across people where the families do not understand and all that support. We do have our arguments, we do have our differences, of course, in certain respects. For example, like when I turned vegan, my mother used to think that what is this? Are you going crazy?
Yeah.
But like gradually they understand that there are my morals, there are my principles. So they do get it. But yeah, I've been lucky in the family department. My friends also, initially were shocked, thought it's a prank. I've been very lucky in that regard also. I have very, very supportive friends, very, encouraging friends. So they have been around. They have been very helpful in that regard.
Okay. In which year you started this organization? Like when you were
So we
studying?
used to so we started this work in 2018, like in the beginning when, Tommy sort of came into the life. But the Instagram presence started in 2019. So that's that's when I decided that, we need to have some sort of social.
Yeah.
So there were some emergency cases also where, the medical expenses rose so much that it just became impossible to fund that all of them ourselves. So that's when the Instagram presence started. But the work has been going on, I think, since 2018, ever since like Tommy came.
Okay. So, of course, after talking about the support system, how can we not talk about the criticism and difficulties you have faced in your path? So, tell us about what sort of criticism, negative comments, and major difficulties you have faced in your journey.
Okay, so that's a lot of it. Abundance as well. So, wherever in my neighborhood also, as I told you, Tommy himself was a victim of animal abuse, which sort of reflects the mentality that people have regarding stray dogs in particular. I've come across people who claim to be dog lovers. They have golden retrievers and Labradors in their houses, but would not think twice before running over their cars over a stray dog on the road.
Right.
So I have, in this neighborhood, I've had arguments, I've had fights, I have been stopped by uncles, senior citizens. I have been harassed multiple times that don't feed them, don't do this, don't do that, and a lot more. Like there came a time when they used to understand that me and my mother would come at around 10:30 to feed the dogs, and they would all come down and sort of try to stop us, try to with us, ask the guards, यहाँ खिला रहे हैं या वहाँ खिला रहे हैं, ये मना करो, etc. In fact, when we adopted Tommy, so he's an Indie. Indies are usually, high drive dogs. They need to run around and exert their energy. So we have a central park in our society. And after like 12 at night or 11:30 at night, when nobody was around, we used to put him off leash for like 10 minutes so that he can run around, exert his energy, right? Because if that is not done, his energy used to come out in undesired behaviors like aggression. So it was suggested by a trainer. But the management of my society, they started objecting to that. They had no problems when a golden retriever would play, even when kids were in the park. But they had a problem when an Indie or an adopted stray or a roadside dog, as they claimed, came inside their parks. They issued notices, they issued fines. They used to stand in their balconies and record us. That's the level of harassment they went to. And it became a huge blown out fight. So at that point, they told us that, there's this dump yard near the society, go take that, and that's where you should keep your dog, which was this park.
Yeah.
And this park used to be a jungle, a weed jungle. I mean, there were thieves sitting here, there were people sitting here smoking up weed and all, like illegally.
Yeah.
Once a dead body was in this land, it was that damp and dense. You could not even step inside this park. It was, there were snakes, there were scorpions. Snakes still come out sometimes in this park. And it took us about a year. We converted this place into what it is today. Megan gave birth here only, and she gave birth to 5 puppies. One was stolen, or like somebody just took him away when he was an infant. 2 of them died, and Motu and Bruno are the only survivors. So that's when we understood that there needs to be a safe place, not only for Tommy to like play around, but for the strays nearby, because there was this danger of them getting run over by cars, and people were very against dogs here. They used to instruct their guards to beat them up. So that's how this park came into being. I just digressed and told you the story just to let you know how this park came into being. And now that it is called, those very people who were very against dogs want to come in again, and they're like, you also want to come in, but dogs ko hata dijiye. I'm like, this place came into being because of the dogs. So a lot of obstacles have been there, and some of my relatives also, initially they were like, it's so unhygienic, why are you doing this? It's madness. If you want to help humans, why are you, helping roadside dogs, etc. So I've always been someone who doesn't keep quiet, okay? Even if it's like affecting my mental peace, I will do my best to make the other person understand. But eventually with time, them came around. A lot of them understood that, this is something beyond work and cause for me. This is something which has become a part of my identity now. So they also came around. So a lot of my friends who were terrified of dogs like me started feeding the dogs because of Tales of Tales. So I've seen a lot of people change very positively. So I try to focus on that rather than on the negative. There are always people, even today, they will come and fight. But I mean, it's the dogs, it's the animals that keep me going. I'm doing all of this for them, not for any human being. So that's what it is. Yeah.
So my next question was about that only, like how you are affecting your surrounding. But awesome, what you're doing is just awesome. Wow, like converting it into a park, I can see. Yeah.
Yeah, one more fact, everything in this park, everything that we view is complete waste. So we've collected plastic bottles, hundreds of them. We've used them to make flower pots, hanging pots. These, I don't know if you can see them behind me. These are waste tires of my car. So everything in this park that we've used is waste. So this is all made from waste. Everything that people used to throw away, that's from, that's all from, that's what we've used to create stuff here.
Looking beautiful, and you have done a fantastic job. Like seriously, I'm admiring you even more now.
No, very sweet of you. Thank you.
Yeah. So, in these years, is there any special instances that you came across and felt like it was all worth it? You were like, doing this organization is something I wanted, and it's done. Like I'm happy about this fact.
So you see, a lot of people think that the only thing that you need in life is happiness, whereas I think it's satisfaction. It's that contentment the person is looking for.
Yeah.
So when you are working with animals now, that's something that you come across very constantly, but still you feel like there's way too much to do, especially in a country like ours where, there is suffering at every other corner. So there is this sort of contradicting notions that exist. While there is contentment and those feelings of, feeling, every hardship is worth it. It comes on every day, but then there is this feeling also that there is still a lot to be done. So I'll tell you both of them, why I think, both of these things. So let's start with why there is a lot to be done.
Yeah.
So in a country like ours, there is, not only in India, in fact, I've heard recently that it's in other countries as well, there is this huge bias against indie. Everybody wants a breed. Everybody wants an status symbol to have, not really a companion, which is a major challenge. So I like over the years of my work, last 2-3 years, I've seen a lot of people change, a lot of them, even right now when I coordinate adoptions, I have so many people who tell me that, earlier you were deciding to buy a dog, but then through the videos you shared and through other pages as well, we've understood that, that's not the right way to go.
Yeah.
So there is still work to be done in terms of awareness, in terms of spreading awareness. There are a lot of things people don't know. All of us really think that it's the meat industry that's bad, right? That we should not have non-veg.
Yeah.
People here know that the dairy industry is as cruel, if not more. It's extremely cruel. Even I myself was not that aware. It's only through working more that I understood. I turned to vegan very recently. I initially started by being a vegetarian. I was a non-vegetarian first. Then I became a vegetarian. Then I became a vegan. So again, another thing we think is that cows are very safe in our country, or there is a lot of respect associated with the cows, but it's not. You go out on any street and you will see the condition of cows. When a cow is injured, once I remember there was a rescue we did for a cow. She wasn't able to stand up. There was no injury you could see, but she was not able to stand up. And her stomach was bloated like this much. It took us 4 to 5 hours just to arrange one ambulance. That is it, one ambulance. And after she was rescued, she passed away the next day. We got to know that she had 90 kgs of plastic inside her stomach. That is the reality of the stray animals.
Yeah.
So there's a lot to be done in that respect. There is awareness that needs to spread. Adoptions need to go up more. Breeding needs to come down. People need to understand how cruel the meat and the dairy industry is.
Yeah.
People need to, and these are big changes in life, I agree. Even if that is not possible with people, the only basic bare minimum is to respect the other life forms around you.
Yeah.
There are people who run over their cars on strays, who deliberately hit them, who throw stones, who put up crackers on their tails during their festivals. That is completely unnecessary, not needed. That is just done because there is no respect for the life. So I think that's where we need to do a lot more. We need to strengthen our animal cruelty laws. The laws in our country are pretty weak right now, and there is a need to amend those, especially with regard to animal cruelty. So that's where a lot needs to be done. But coming to the other part of the question, about experiences where I felt, it's totally worth it. There was a dog, she was 13 to 14 years old. And her neck was mauled. It was eaten off by another dog. Maybe it was a fight or something. We didn't get to know what was the exact reason. And, she went into hiding, so we couldn't rescue her. She came out after like 4 days. Her entire neck was gone. It was just the bone on which her head was hanging. It was that bad. Like the maggots, the flesh-eating maggots, they ate all of it. She was 13 to 14 years old. So people around were like, "Ye nahi bachegi. Why are you making efforts to save?" But, after coordinating for a lot of hours, we sent her to the hospital. And the doctor also said that, it's very, even her liver values or kidney values are pretty bad. It's not like, there's a very slight chance she might survive. Tommy also has a lot to say. But she survived.
Yeah.
She came back after full recovery and is leading a perfectly good life right now. So that was one instant.
Wow.
I felt that not an option. There is the street dog, especially, has so much of willpower inside of them that and that I knew that if I leave her on the road, in such immense pain, like she had worms inside her eating her up while she was alive, I knew I wouldn't be able to sleep. So that was one instant. I have 2 more very special instances which are like very close to my heart.
Yeah.
So one is of Mishri. Mishri was a dog that I found on the road. I was returning from somewhere and we found we saw a very tiny puppy on the road. So we have dog food inside our car almost all the time, because anytime we see a dog, we stop and feed. So we just stopped that, agar ye hai, to the mother and the other siblings must be around. We stopped. She was not normal. She was not looking normal. She had dried blood stains on her. Her stomach was bloated. We could see the bones. She was that thin, but her stomach was bloated. and there was no other dog to be seen around. No adult dog, no other puppy. It was getting dark. It started drizzling, and in front of me, she came in front of two bikes. I just screeched and the bike stopped. I just couldn't leave her there. I had no foster, I had no adopter, and I know I take calculated risks. I am against people picking up puppies like that. But there was no mother, no sibling around. There was nobody. I knew that if we leave her on the road, she will die within the night. So we took her. We drove about 60 kilometers to a foster, to a friend who kept her for some days. She was diagnosed with the worst form of tick fever. This little tiny puppy was on drips for 7 days. She sat in the car as if she knew how to sit in the car. She slept in our arms very comfortably. So it was probably that someone abandoned her there, or that someone separated her from her family and left her there on the road. We tried for a long period of time to get her adopted after she was fine, but it didn't happen that easily. Through Mishri, I met some amazing people. I met another person who fostered Mishri, and today she's like an elder sister to me. And it was her elder sister, the real elder sister, who eventually adopted Mishri.
Okay.
I can't tell you how pampered she is today.
Yeah.
Around a bag for her like parents keep it for their human babies. She is the princess of the household, and the way that she looks today. If you see her pictures on the page, you can see a puppy whose bones were seen, who was in such a pathetic condition, to a very healthy, very sweet dog today. And the way that she's living right now, and I mean that the entire, since I've been in the loop of the entire, every step of the story, Mishri is someone who's very special to me. I think maybe it was destiny that we were crossing that road at that day. She met us. I don't know. Maybe it's all just a superstitious belief in my mind. But the way that she's living her life today, I mean, if my mother is always like, kahan hame sadak pe mili thi. Like, who knew she'll end up in such a good way.
Yeah.
So that was the second instance, and the last one, I'll try to keep it short. There was a dog there was a puppy who was born in Noida, and I just saw his appeal like on WhatsApp. I think an appeal was being circulated, so I reached out to the person. There was like an distant relatives of mine, or some people that I know, that they thought that they can adopt him. So I thought he cares for Dr. Aditya, but eventually it didn't work out. There were some problems, and he was returned the next day. He was a very tiny puppy, like 1.5 months old. Some days after that, like he went back to the streets because he was not adopted. And some days after that, he met with a terrible accident, and his entire forelimbs were crushed, badly crushed. Like in one arm, the bones were powdered, so his leg couldn't be saved, and he was amputated. So this tiny puppy became a tripod. He was on 3 legs. That is it, just 3 legs. And I knew we cannot leave a tripod dog back on the street. That was such a tiny puppy, such an unsafe sort of environment. One thing led to another. A lot of work went behind it. But today he is adopted in the United States of America, and he is living with a family there. He has 2 human siblings and 1 canine sibling. He lives with tiny humans, really, and he's an adult dog now. So to all the people who tell me that, Indies are aggressive, Indies shouldn't be adopted, please meet, his name is, oh God, his name is Gadget. So he is very fond of the human kids. He sleeps with them, he cuddles with them, and he's living a king-size life. So, when you actually seen them cry in pain, lying in their own, pool of blood on the road, when you've seen them in such pathetic conditions, and then when you see them living their best lives, and when you realize that you had a part to play in that whole story, or in bringing about the lives, and you feel like every hardship, no matter how hard it is, it's worth it. Like I've actually buried dogs while attending online classes. I have received calls from the clinics that some of the dogs that were admitted have passed away. In between lectures, when my teacher is, sitting, and suddenly she'll ask me, "Oh my God, Aura, why are you crying?" sleepless nights have been there. There have been days when the people around became so aggressive that, I couldn't sleep worrying for my dog's safety. Right? So there have been those days as well. But I mean, at the end, when you see them eating their food, when you see them healthy, when you see them living a good, safe life, it's all worth it. It's totally all worth it.
Wow,
Sorry
it's
for
so
giving you
inspiring.
so much
No, we really want to know. Like we want to know each and every story if it's possible, because you're so inspiring, and our audience will love to hear all of this, because everyone thinks that indie dogs are harmful, they can bite, but nobody shows a cool gesture or a sweet gesture to them. Everyone are frightened before they do something. So eventually they become
No, I think,
aggressive.
regarding that, I just like to say there is a lot of unawareness regarding this as well. Indies
Yeah.
are very good and very smart dogs.
Yeah.
Of course, they need training. I agree they do.
Hmm.
But it's, who says other breeds don't? Every
Yeah.
dog is a kid who needs to be taught some basic things, who needs to
Yeah.
be taught how to live, a lot of things you need to teach
Yeah.
dogs. I've seen cases of, beagles getting aggressive because people didn't know how to raise beagles. You always see
Yeah.
beagle as a friendly breed, but that's not how it goes. If you
Yeah.
are not treating your dog properly, there will be bad behaviors coming up. So, I agree that there are differences in breed characteristics, but if I see the dogs that have been adopted from me or from other organizations who are doing wonderfully, they are such intelligent, such loving beings. Before this meeting started, I just entered the park and child came running and just put her head in my lap. I had nothing to offer her. I had nothing to offer. She just came running, put her head on my lap, and just stayed there for 4-5 minutes. I don't think it is describable in words what she made me feel at that point. No human ever has made me feel so loved and so valued. And this is something I've probably said in a lot of articles, in a lot of videos, but a person does not know love in its truest sense, in its complete sense, until you've loved an animal. I have been a person who's very, very away from animals, and I have been a person, who cannot now imagine a life without animals. So I have been in both those phases.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think any human is capable of the type of love that an animal can give. So I talk about Tommy. So because he had, a past of trauma, he was beaten up, and he had a lot of trust issues because of that. Even today, if he sees a person with a stick or a lathi in his hand, he gets very nervous. He is scared. He's terrified of cars because he thinks that he will be left somewhere.
Yeah.
So we suspect that somebody adopted Tommy before and then left him back on the road. That's what we suspect, but we do not know. There's no way to confirm.
Yeah.
So Tommy came a dog who used to bark at the fan because he didn't understand why this is moving and throwing out air. He came as a dog who used to bark at hookah whistles. And today he's a dog who knows that if the compressor is turning on, then the AC is on and I should go inside the suit. So, there is this massive change. He sleeps on. If a pillow is lying on the floor, he'll go run and put his head there and sleep. And I have videos of my dogs adopted from me. There was this video of Bumble. He's a dog. He's one of the first dogs that got adopted from Tales of Tales. And there's this video. So he sort of did a hole in the bed sheet. And when the human came and asked, who did this, Bumble? Why did you do this? He started doing all these cute tactics and, showing that, oh, no, it wasn't me. Conveying that, I'm guilty, but it's okay. And then there are pictures of him sleeping tucked in a blanket on the pillow. So Indies are wonderful beings. There are a lot of people who will tell you that because that's the truth.
Yeah.
Indies are completely beings. Some days back, it was raining non-stop in Delhi. For hours, it rained way too much. Chai and Chini were crying, all drenched in the park here. So we decided that, for the night, we'll take them upstairs. And my mother was worried that ye raat ko soenge nahi, and they'll just maybe sara saman chhedenge, etc.
Yeah.
But these girls were so well behaved. They slept the entire night or just kept quiet. And in the morning, they were like, they told us that, we need to pee. And these dogs have never been toilet trained. One very majestic thing about Indies are like, this is not fact, but I've noticed it in a lot of Indies. They know that they do not have to pee inside the house or poop inside the house. Especially if they've been on the roads, then they know this. So, they're very good learners. They're amazing beings. I hope a lot of more of our countrymen and citizens see this. Even the Prime Minister himself, said that, adopt Indies. They are wonderful dogs. Of course, anytime you adopt a rescue or anytime you go for a dog, you need to be sure that you are ready to invest physically, financially, emotionally, mentally for the dog's well-being. You can't be like a toy ki tarah ek puppy ko le aaye hain. So same with Indians. You treat them well. If you train them well, they're wonderful dogs. Same if you treat a dog like a toy, then there will be problems because the dog is not a toy. He's a child that you need to raise. So that's something that people need to understand.
So I'm really excited, to know how your daily life looks like having a dog army, as you have mentioned in your Instagram account. How your day really starts. What is all involved in your daily routine? What sort of activities you do? And how you are managing during this pandemic? Like right now, how you are managing things?
Okay, so I just Tommy, would you stop obstructing the camera?
Tale of tales.
Yeah. I think final exams for college will be just in June now. So that's when I'll complete my college. So before the pandemic, I used to leave for college in the morning. There are also a lot of dog friends that I had. Then I used to come back in the evening. I think we should just wait for them.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
I used to come back. We used to go on a feeding drive, feed all the dogs nearby, check if there is a wound. We used to carry a first aid box, treat them. If there was a need for extended treatment, we used to take them to the vet no matter the time. I remember I had a very, very important job interview. Okay, this is Alu.
Okay, hi Alu. How cute.
Yeah, so I had a very important job interview and I was just preparing for it when I got a call. One of very, very dear community dogs was run over by a car and he had a huge wound on his back here. So I left. We had to leave everything, go to the vet, get him treated because that's the top priority. You don't leave family in pain. I did not get that job interview, but that's another thing. But that's not because of the dog. That's definitely not because of the dog. But these guys have become an extended family. Now when it rains, we come running down seeing, are the sheds in place? Are they getting wet? Have they had food? Etc. It was how it was. I used to schedule my day in a way that I have some time to create content for the page, to put up the updates there, to manage it all. And to make adoptions, I used to take out time. I had to make calls. And I have been this person who sort of wants to do everything herself. I will make the calls. I will check the forms. I will do everything because when there is adoption, there is this thing that, you're handling a life. So, it becomes very essential that everything is done properly. But I totally agree. Having volunteers, having friends around you is good. But have trusted people around you who do the job properly.
Yeah.
It's a life we are dealing with. But when the pandemic happened, we started, we had more time and we understood that, in the strictest of the lockdown, the markets were closed, the metro stations were closed. So the places where the dogs used to get scraps or used to get things from the dustbin were also not having it. They were starving on the roads with nobody around.
Yeah.
So we started with a concept called feeding drives. So what we used to do was we used to take fill a car with food, water, and some basic medicines, and used to take drives all across Delhi. Like there came a point when we were driving from East Delhi to South Delhi to North Delhi, and sometimes crossing to the west as well. So it took like 4 to 5 hours daily. We used to drive around, stop at every point wherever an animal was seen, and feed the animal, give water, and they were parched. They would drink water like they've never drunk it before. They would eat like they've not eaten in days. So that's how feeding drives started happening. Then it became habitual. we still do it now that even the lockdown is not there. We still do it. So that's part of the routine. Again, I plan. I've been more. This is chai coming back. Now I have proper timetable for Tales of Tales in order to, I try my best to be as organized as possible. So I sort of, I started using the platform to create awareness as well. So now I plan it. So a significant part of my day goes there as well. Then I come to, we feed during the night in our, like nearby in our neighborhood. And for the feeding drives, we go in the evenings, like around 5, 6. If I'm not able to go, my mom, dad go. If they are not able to go, I go with dad. So he's the one who knows how to play. So I'm learning it currently. So we go on feeding drives. If there are rescue cases and all, we take them to the vet if it's possible by ourselves. But because of community building, we now understand that, there are people who just work in animal taxis. So we send that to them. We build some contacts like that way.
Hey, that's great.
Yeah, I mean, this is the most important thing, in our life. They are like our kids. So anytime a family member is not feeling well, it's our duty to be there for them. Along with it, I think college is just getting over. So studies and all are there.
Yeah.
So it's you manage your time, you divide your day in a way that you have. So I think it's with everyone. You take out time and sit and spend some time with your family, right?
Yeah.
So you guys are a family that study, you do your work and you do everything, and then there is time for family. So yeah, that's how it goes.
Okay. So how often you visit park in a day?
In a day, I think it's more than 4 to 6 times, or more than that, I think. yeah. We visited like very, very frequent.
Okay. Then eventually that's your park, so you can visit. You have designed it, you have made it.
We're not against anybody coming in, but again, we are not, the dogs won't be going anywhere. That's a person comes saying that I'll only come if the dogs go. Then there is no need for you to come inside.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like you're harming anybody by this, but you can't take away their home. They were born here and they will stay.
Yeah. So where do you see your organization in the next years, and what are your goals and vision about it? Like any strategies or anything?
Every day I work towards increasing our reach. I hope that this word goes out to a lot of people. As I said, it's very important to have a community. So our plans are to be as capable as possible, to never say no to an animal in need. That is something there. I want to never say no to an animal in need. In the coming years, I would want to have shelters in various states, not only here, in various states, that, and especially in those states where the veterinary, veterinary institutions are not good enough, where the animals are, there are not a lot of volunteers, where, for example, in Himachal or in Uttarakhand, places like these, it's very difficult to get help for, especially for the stray animals. So in places like these, I'd like to have some presence so that there the animals are not neglected, they are held. I would like the platform of Tales of Tales to also be a medium where we can spread as much awareness as possible, use the platform effectively. And to expand this community, to get more animals adopted, whoever need it, and just to be more capable to help them more. And apart from, of course, animals are always there, but there is this need to highlight some things about the environment as well, because it's all integrated. All of this is integrated. So like we built park with waste. This is a completely no waste generation. We have oxygen giving plants here. We have air purifiers planted here. We planted about 20 to 25 trees, in this stretch. So that's something we are also working towards. It's important to integrate that into the cause as well, just to make everything as sustainable as possible. The only, I think when people come together for a great cause, it creates an impact. And social media has made creating impact a very easy thing. I hope that, people share things, people spread the word so that this community can expand. So I mean, the goal is to be more capable, to, help more animals, to better more lives.
Yeah.
and to bring about this dignity in their lives, so that every person sees them as a life form, as as a life form deserving dignity.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the. Let's see how it
Yeah.
goes.
Let's hope for the best.
I'm
So,
pretty sure this will be achieved, but it's just
yeah.
that take time.
Yeah, it will take time. Good things take time.
Definitely.
Yeah. Lastly, anything you want to share or any suggestion you want to give to our audience? Any important message you want to convey? So go ahead.
Sure, there are like 2, 3 things I would like to say. So, there are a lot of stereotypes and prejudices inside all of us, be it with regard to animals or in general in life. And I think it's important that we understand the importance of unlearning a lot of things.
Yeah.
So we are conditioned to believe a lot of things. So it's important that we are open to the idea of unlearning a lot of concepts. So I would like to say that be open to different and very vague opinions. Be open to something that shocks you. Be open to it. Something that you've never heard before. Be open to it. Try to learn more and increase your knowledge about that before getting in a defensive position. Secondly, for all the community animals in outside you, nearby you, outside your houses, be it stray dogs, stray cattle, birds, even the ants, be respectful of the other life forms, be it trees. I know this sounds very preachy, but everything is related. You are part of an ecosystem. You are part of the environment. If you stop respecting the nature around you, the living beings around you, you will be having more of these pandemics.
Yeah.
I'm not talking karma, I'm talking pure science. When nature is exploited, then it gets back. So it's important we have respect for the life forms. It's okay if a person doesn't love dogs, if a person doesn't, like cattle around, but respect needs to be there. There needs to be a respect for other life forms. The third thing would be that if you are looking to have a canine companion, please adopt, don't shop. Breeding is a cruel industry. Ethical breeding is something which is not existent in our country. Very, very difficult to find an ethical breeder. If you have a breed preference, then adopt from a shelter. There are a lot of abandoned breeds. People have abandoned Labras, Rottweilers, Beagles, and whatnot. Adopt from a shelter. Give chance to indies. Read up on them. Talk to people who have adopted indies. They are people who can tell you the experiences. Give chance to indies. Adopt them. Spread the word about us and similar organizations. We are small initiatives right now working, started by individuals. Your support, your words of encouragement, simply a message of love means the world to us. Okay. This community has helped me learn so much, unlearn so much. I've gained so many amazing friends through the community. So join our tribe, follow us if you are not following us yet. Our handle is @tales_of_tales on Instagram. And there's this last thing. I started a birthday fundraiser. So Tales of Tales is turning 2 years old on 2nd of June. And it's also my birthday on 1st of June. So it's like very nearby. So fundraiser, which will help us continue our operations for at least 3 months. The funds will be used for food for the dogs and the cows. It will also be used to replenish our first aid box, which contains some very essential medicines. And lastly, it used to clear the medical bills for some of the very severe cases. So the link to donate is in the bio of the page of Tales of Tales. So if possible, if anybody is watching this, if you want to do something good in the pandemic or otherwise, please donate to the cause. On the page, we put up regular updates. Everything is updated. You will see where the money is going and you'll be creating huge. Help me save more lives. And if now you want, I can show you the park in case you want to see some bits of it. So I can just stand up and
count me in. Count me in. So let's let's wrap it. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll just show you the park. Okay. So this is a shed that we built. It's looking bad because it was raining badly.
Yeah.
So this is a shed we built from waste doors and waste wood. These are some tires from our car.
Wow.
These are the plants that these are tulsi and all. So and just a second. So here you can see how we've used waste plastic containers to create stuff.
Okay, that's interesting.
Here you can see all the plastic bottles being used.
Wow.
Yeah, and this is again, so these are again plastic boxes, waste boxes. These are bird feeders. The birds actually come and eat here.
Okay.
All of this was barren land.
Yeah.
This was a shed we made in the rain, a temporary shed. And I don't know if you can see it from here. Those are hanging bottles, hanging plants that we've made from bottles.
Okay.
That's Chai Patti scratching herself.
Great.
That's my dad. That's my dad, who's the chief creator of this park.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my brother standing there. And yeah, this is the park.
Great. Like, hats off. It's incredible. I am totally inspired and I'm just admiring your work. Keep doing it.
That's very sweet of you. Thank you. Thank you.
So yeah, thank you
Yeah,
so
I
much,
just-
Aura. Yeah, thank you so much, Aura, for your valuable time. It's such an amazing feeling to share the screen with you. And what you're doing is wonderful, as I have mentioned 1,000 times. Everyone watching this, please go and follow her Instagram account, Tales of Tales. The link is in the description box. She's saving so many animals. She's doing such a fantastic job and she deserves this shout out. So please go ahead and contribute as much as you can do because it's for a noble cause. So yeah.
Thank you so much, Anvesha. It was totally my pleasure doing this, and I had a great time, conversing with you. And to everyone who's watching this and who's watched this till the end, thank you so much for giving us lending us your ears. Thank you.
So this brings us to the end of our conversation with Miss Aura Bhandari. I hope you all must have taken back strong insights from her challenging journey. Thank you so much for watching and stay tuned for the upcoming episodes and don't forget to like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thank you. Bye.